This week, it's the Consumer Electronics Show, but not as we know it. Featuring a TV camera crew in a box.
Wow!
A payment chicken. In fact, something for all tastes.
Perfectly blended.
Or not.
Not the best choice of ingredients, though.
Every January, the tech world descends on Las Vegas for the Consumer Electronics Show. It's a massive affair where companies launch their products for the year and fight to be seen and heard over the din. And this year, not so much.
Not a casino or convention centre in sight.
It's weird, really. After going to Vegas every January for 15 years, I was so over it. And then this year, it turns out I really miss it.
I know, our January jaunt may not be happening, but that doesn't mean that technology is standing still. Of course it's not.
Yeah, CES is still happening. It's online only, and we're going to try and bring you a sense of what the show is like. And yes, there will be weird gadgets, there will be big announcements, but there won't be jet lag.
And I'm still in for a bit of a treat. I'm being spoilt this week by having someone else film me remotely using something being shown at CES this year. So you may have heard us mention by now that we're both self-shooting our bits of the show, and that can mean a bit of stopping and starting as we're trying to respond to changes in lighting, or tweaking focus if we move a bit. All the bits that you never need to know about, but can be rather fiddly for us.
Rather fiddly? It drives me up the wall.
Well, I didn't need to worry about any of that this week. Sorry, Spencer, as I unwrapped Crew in a Box. Okay, it's not literally a crew inside a box, but it is a high-end plug-and-play studio kit in a box to be operated remotely. Lift the lid and you'll find a 6K camera, a teleprompter, a triple LED light panel, 2 microphones and a whole load of leads. Once you figure what goes where, you just power it up and you can meet your remote production team. Award-winning director Ira was one of a trio of Hollywood professionals who co-founded the company back in March after realising that production could be disrupted for a while.
So I think it was March 17th. I think that was the day that we found out that there would be a lockdown in LA. And I imagine, like a lot of other people in the business, I panicked thinking, when would production ever come back? My first call was actually to Dallas. Dallas Sterling is a really innovative cinematographer that I've worked with. And he's also really great with building things, so I brought him on board. And I think within 2 months, Dallas had built a prototype in his garage. As soon as talent receives Crew in a Box and they plug it in, that it immediately connects over bonded cellular over the internet to a remote operator. And at that time, the remote operator controls all the main integrated components of the box.
Outside of the US, it does need a Wi-Fi connection though. But once set up, I had nothing to think about other than to sit down and talk. Let's talk through what you're doing to this image of me.
So that's off, that's on. Watch your eyes, I'm gonna go full blown. There we go, that's full up. And then I have the ability to control the warmth of it. So that's max cool, and this is max warmth.
You're making me want to move around and cause more bother to give you more work to do.
It's challenging.
The box comes with a serious price tag of $55,000, but it is mostly intended for rental use, and this is a high production value setup, so you have to think about what it's actually replacing, and right now, it may be just keeping things going.
Patrick!
Currently, it does only offer a static locked-off shot though, which does limit its uses. But I guess that isn't that dissimilar to my at-home click studio anyway.
Still, it's got to help though, hasn't it? Honestly, I am so jealous of you right now. Just someone to come and pull focus for me. I'd kill for that.
Yes, it really did make things easier.
Now, as we said, CES has moved online this year, and for the organisers, that has been a massive undertaking, a big risk and a huge unknown. Since 1967, people have been flocking to CES to see the latest innovations in technology. Last year, it attracted more than 170,000 people. These big tech shows can be overwhelming, but many companies feel that they're essential to attend, whether to network, to make deals, or just to get a taste of what's going on in other tech areas. So how do you recreate all of that noise, the excitement, and the buzz of being in Las Vegas when you're forced to go online only? CES is organised by the Consumer Technology Association, and I caught up with its president, Gary Shapiro.
So we've adjusted in just about every way you can adjust at this point. And it's not been easy, I'm not going to lie. And, we had concerns about the speed and the pace and the offering.
To be honest, I was expecting CES Online to be this 3D world of virtual conference halls, but it's not. It's a directory of exhibitors, the larger of which will have their own flashy microsites. But the smaller startups, who usually only have a small booth anyway, will they just get a page to upload their presentations to?
We get around, I would say, 20,000 contacts there. So that's a big fallout if you're not there. We're not so impressed currently because it just looks like a big phone book of companies in alphabetic order. So I'm thinking it's really hard to be noticed there unless someone is specifically looking for you.
Well, a lot of people assumed we would go AR, VR, 3D, as you mentioned. And we said, we're not going to do that. We're not even going to encourage that because it's too high of a reach, frankly.
Given the current unknowns, next year's CES will be an as yet unspecified mix of real-world and online events. The pandemic has shown us that we don't really all need to fly to one city to do business. But I can't help thinking that the need to touch and feel the tech and to look each other in the eye will mean that these big physical events will be back.
Online or offline, CES remains popular for major tech unveils. LG teased a smartphone with a rollout screen. It's pegged for release this year, but no specs and no price means no promises. Lenovo showcased its latest lightweight smart glasses, capable of supporting 3D visualization and augmented reality guides. And Yves Saint Laurent launched a smartphone-connected lipstick mixer, capable of combining up to 3 shades. The driverless race car that will compete in a world-first high-speed race has been revealed. The Dallara IL-15 has been retrofitted with radar, LiDAR and cameras. It's expected to hit around 180 miles per hour at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in October. Samsung showed off a lineup of helpful home robots it's developing. The one-armed Bot Handy features computer vision and could help pick up clothes, load the dishwasher, or even wait on you. And finally, cat flaps are so 2020. This smart door uses cameras and sensors to partially open for your pets. And dogs and cats will need to wear a Bluetooth collar though. It also all costs nearly $3,000. Maybe just give Spot a key.
In a world where no one wants to touch anything at the moment, it's no surprise that contactless payments are now the preferred way to pay. You just tap your card on a terminal to make a transaction. It's done using NFC chips. NFC is near field communication, and you get them in your credit cards, on your phone, or in smartwatches. But these chips, well, they can be put into anything. Which explains why I've been sent some headphones, a lipstick, and a chicken. Wearables company Tappy has partnered with MasterCard to put payment chips into practical accessories like rings, watch clasps and watch straps, and non-practical accessories just designed to get media coverage. Which works apparently. But why might you want a payment chip in something other than a nice small thin credit card?
Let's say if you're shopping in a grocery shopping and you're already checking out with a lot of things in your bag, at the same time you want to take your wallet out or your phone out and pay, you just feel that sometimes it won't be as efficient. So if it's already on your wrist, it's just much more convenient, it's quicker for the checkout.
First, you associate a chipped item to a particular credit card using this cradle and going through a security setup on the accompanying app. And from then on, your whatever it is acts just like a contactless payment card, but with the added advantage that you can activate and deactivate items at will using the app. Now, there are always plenty of weird and wonderful things on show at CES, so let's see what the team have found as they wander virtually around this year's show. And we're going to start with Wearables and Omar Mehta.
So there are a few devices featuring at CES that can actually help you avoid touching stuff. And I'm talking work computers, touch screens, phones, all of that. First up, this wristband by Corso. It houses a biosensor that reads muscle movements. So, by making gestures, you can control the laptop, the phone, the tablet that you're connected to via Bluetooth. It's kind of like using the Force. Look, click on Spencer Kelly, and we got Spencer. No, I didn't mean to do that. Let go of the window. It does take some getting used to. It's a little bit unruly sometimes, but once you've got the hang of it, it is actually quite useful. For general use, for gaming, controlling robots, prosthetics, and rehabilitation for amputees. Right, that's Corso done. Next up, is this ring created by company ArcX. It's for your workout so that instead of getting your phone out, you can control it using this little joystick here. So what that means is that I'll put this on and then I can control what song I'm listening to, the volume, I can also take calls and take split times of my exercises. I can then continue my workout, and if I'm saying, oh, I want to listen to the next track, boom, I can listen to it as I do my press-ups. Oh, okay, that's enough. Honestly though, it doesn't work for every exercise. I mean, if I'm using the dumbbells, sometimes the joystick will hit the side and do something that I don't want it to do. Another drawback is that it's connected via Bluetooth, so if you put your phone in a locker and it's quite a big gym, you walk quite far away to do your exercises, this will eventually stop working. But while it is connected, it does work really well. Right, that's for your private devices though. What about for public ones like touchscreens? Well, that's where Ultraleap comes into play. Their touch-free app allows touchscreens to become touchless. A camera and motion controller are retrofitted to detect and track hand movements. But in setups with Ultraleap built in, they include ultrasonic speakers to enable haptic feedback. They use sound waves to create pressure at certain points, like the tip of your finger, to make it feel as if you were actually touching a screen. Well, there you have it. A few of the key wearables at CES, and given the current climate, they may actually become quite popular. Up next is Lara with the latest home gadgets from the show.
With more time than ever spent at home right now, it's little surprise to see that tech to better our home lives is taking virtual centre stage. Last year we saw a burst of new sleep tech, much of it not just about tracking your slumber, but improving it.
But maybe rather than fancy headphones and other wearables, it's our actual pillows we should be rethinking. Here I have the Dozy Cozy Interactive Smart Pillow. It's pretty heavy and it does feel a little bit mechanical to sleep on, especially considering it's plugged in all night. But the idea is that this can track your movement, so it'll adjust height according to whether you're sleeping on your side or on your back. You just need to wear this small device around your waist. When it actually came to trying to sleep with the pillow though, I actually felt that the shape was a bit too boxy. And even though it does, in theory, move to the perfect height for you, that's not necessarily how you want your pillow to feel. It can also play white noise or music to help get you off to sleep in the first place, although I did find it slightly disappointing that it played that out loud. I wanted it to be a subtler kind of music straight into my ear through the pillow, so it wouldn't disturb the person next to me. If, like me, you can't bear the sight of lots of wires around the place, then how about this? A wireless charger that sits beneath the surface of a table or desk so that you can then put your device on the top to charge.
That surface does need to be under 2.5 centimetres thick, but it could be built into a fitted kitchen, for example. The process of calibrating it did feel a bit like finding a needle in a haystack. We'd lost daylight in the process, but did, after an hour, find its sweet spot. Using it after this, though, was a lot simpler, as the positioning didn't need to be so precise to charge. Of course, your device does need to support wireless charging, and it's only compatible with the latest iPhone when used on a thinner surface, so it may not cater for the whole household just yet.
Meanwhile, if a smart blender is what you've been waiting for, then meet Milo. This wireless rechargeable device can be used anywhere, and it can make up to 10 drinks per charge.
Its processor is monitoring its blending in real time, syncing to a smartphone app to keep track of your favoured settings.
Wow, a graph of the blending. I'm not sure if this is massive over-engineering or actually really exciting.
Okay, I get that the novelty may wear off.
Sounds like it's going to take off.
And if the app is surplus to your blending regime requirements, then you can just use the touch display. It moves around depending on where you tap it, an inexplicably compelling feature. Maybe that's just the effect of lockdown.
I never knew I wanted a graph of my smoothie making before. Perfectly blended. I'm not quite sure about the choice of ingredients though, but it does come at a pretty high price, so it really depends how much you want to soup up your soup.
I think I missed that one too. So this cricket bat is designed to be the exact same size and weight as one that you would use on the pitch in a match. And just like in a real game, if you hit the ball, you would feel some feedback coming from here, but if you're like me and you miss, you don't feel anything. Oh, hit it again. I feel like if I didn't feel the bat vibrating, I honestly wouldn't even know that I hit it. There's a series of sensors around the room that are tracking the bat and the headset, and it's tracking it with sub-millimeter accuracy, which is really important because if there's any kind of lag between what my hands are doing and what the headset is seeing, it can have an impact on any kind of immersive experience. The makers of this cricket bat, Centurion VR, say having a bat with the correct specs enhances the experience because everything in this simulation, from the height of the bowler to the ball bouncing on the pitch, is accurate. So that was my first time ever playing cricket, so I want to apologize to any of the cricket fans out there. But now to a sport that I actually know something about, baseball. This is Strike, and it's a smart baseball. It's almost identical to this one, except this one is packed full of technology to analyze player performance. By the time I finish this sentence, the data from this pitch will be on an iPad, and that iPad is being analyzed by a coach. We wanted to test it against the radar gun the team uses, but my pitching wasn't fast enough to actually register, so I rested my arm while one of the coaches gave it a go.
We measured it against our spin rate radar gun. The spin rate gun's like a $2,000 radar gun, and it held up. The velocity was pretty accurate, the spin rate was pretty accurate. I think the spin rate being as accurate as it was and close as it was the most important part.
The ball connects to the app via Bluetooth simply by doing this. But there were a few times it disconnected, which meant my pitch wasn't recorded. We were able to track data including the path, speed, and spin of the ball, but Strike's newest update launching in February allows for even more, like release time, slow motion video recording, and training reports. I have to say, I think this is probably one of the best uses of integrating technology into something simple. They didn't go over the top. Now, the company tells me that the ball can withstand some impact, but when I asked about batting, they strongly suggested that I didn't. Now, back in the UK, Chris Fox has been taking a look at some of the newest smartphone technology from Samsung. Hey Chris, catch!
Thanks, Cody. This is the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra. Samsung has revealed its flagship phones a little bit earlier this year after its sales dropped last year. Now, it was a weird year by all accounts, but even so, some of its rivals managed to increase their smartphone sales. The range has had a bit of a redesign, focusing on that camera module, and that has some new tricks too. There's a new direct to view, which lets you see footage from all the various lenses at the same time, so you can choose on screen which one you want to switch to if you're filming an event. The S21 Ultra can also film in super high resolution 8K video and lets you freeze frame stills from that as well if you want to save a picture. Space zoom is back. On the S21 Ultra, you get that 100 times hybrid zoom, although at the extreme end, the pictures are usually quite grainy. I went down to the park to take some photos. Here's a wide shot of the pond with some geese, and when I zoomed in 100 times, you could make out that it was a goose, but this isn't going to win me Wildlife Photographer of the Year. Here's another photo I took of someone walking their dog, and at 100 times, yeah, it's close enough for you to see what's going on, but you probably wouldn't put this photo on display. That said, I did get some nice shots just using the telephoto lens, which is the equivalent of 10 times optical zoom, and that's closer in than you'll get on the most expensive iPhone. Now, two things have gone from the Galaxy S range this year. The micro SD card reader is gone, and also you won't find a charger in the box anymore. That's the same thing Apple has done. Both companies say that's to reduce the number of lorries on the road by making the boxes smaller, and it will help reduce e-waste. But the big news is that the Galaxy S21 Ultra can now use the Samsung S Pen stylus. So you can use it to interact with the phone, you can draw on the screen and write notes. They suggest you could use it for video editing because the pen lets you get really precise. Typically, the S Pen only works on the Galaxy Note range, and there are one or two differences with the S21 Ultra. There's no slot in the phone for you to store the S Pen, and while you can control the Galaxy Note without touching it using air gestures, that doesn't work on the Galaxy S21 Ultra because the compatible S Pen doesn't have a battery in it. The pen, by the way, is sold separately, and they want an extra £35 for it. But this is bringing the Galaxy Note range and the Galaxy S range closer together. So does this mean the end of the Galaxy Note range? That's a question I put to Samsung's Mark Notton.
We haven't decided, so we've certainly seen as technology has evolved, definitely a blurring of the lines between the two, but what we decided with the S21 Ultra is more about taking the great tech we've got in our Note range and bringing it to the S series.
It's been a hard year for Samsung. The Galaxy S20 didn't sell as well as expected. What do you think needs to change?
I mean, there's obviously many reasons why last year was a little bit odd and not as a normal year. And I think as a company, we have to look at what consumers are telling us. We have to keep giving fantastic value. We have to keep investing in amazing technology to stay ahead of the competition, which is obviously very fierce, and we welcome it.
And that was our take on CES 2021. We really hope to be able to bring you the latest and greatest from CES 2022 from Vegas itself. I tell you, I'm going to get on that strip and I'm just going to kiss it.
Oh, I'm going to give everyone a big high five.
It's a good plan. Good plan. Anyway, that is it from us for this week.
As ever, you can keep up with the team on social media. Find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook and Twitter at BBC Click.
Thanks for watching and we'll see you soon. Mwah!
Bye-bye.